And agitated.
You can't be agitated coming off 5 days.
Anxious, really anxious. Anxious leads to agitation. And I'm just in the A's. I haven't gone to the B's or the C's.
No, you haven't. You're an expert. I see to you.
My anxiety is high anxiety. It's not working. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Wemby states his case for MVP. Tom Brady is back on a football field, and Tiger Woods makes his return to competition. But we begin today with the Sweet 16. The 16 teams remaining are all from power conferences, led by 3 number ones and 4 number twos. Only Florida is gone from the top 2 lines. Wilbon, who do you see as the strongest teams through 2 games?
Very happy as long as we're going to have no surprises in power teams. They have the Big Ten with 6 of the 16. I just wrote down teams, and Tony, in no certain order, because each one of them has circumstances that are peculiar to that situation. But Arizona, Michigan, speaking of number ones, Houston has, I barely watched Houston because they just blown people out. There was no need. Iowa State with an impressive second victory. UConn has been impressive, speaking of number twos. I was impressive to beat a number one, to eliminate a 1. Purdue has been impressive. You notice I did not mention Florida because they're out now. I did not mention Duke because I think the injuries, Now, I know Duke bounced back and had the second game was a much better game.
You mentioned 7 of the 16 teams.
Okay, what?
It's an easy
Would you
bet.
like to leave somebody out of that
Well,
group?
I just assumed you would mention 1 or 2. I'm going to start with who you just ended with, and that's Duke.
Okay.
Duke has not looked good to this point.
No.
Duke almost lost to Siena, which is why Jerry McNamara is coaching Syracuse today.
In part, yeah.
And they were only up by 4 against TCU at the half, and then they stretched it out. They have not looked like world beaters. They're missing an important player, and now they get St. John's. And St. John's is lucky to be in this position, too. They went a length of the court, layup, right hand, offhand, and all of that. But what we've known in our lives is if you leave Rick Pitino in a tournament for a long time, his teams get better. If you ask me what 1 or 2 teams have impressed me the most so far, I would say Arizona, but I would definitely say Houston. Houston is plus 60.
Houston
plus 60 in 2 games.
Kill shots.
And they catch a break. They no longer have to play Florida to get to the Final Four. This is 2 teams from the Big 12, both of those teams. But you know this from a conversation I had with you. I have a soft spot in my heart for Illinois now. Illinois is big.
You shocked me over the weekend.
They play big boy basketball. They don't fan out for threes.
They can block
No.
Rim protection.
And as you know, it's your conference. The Big Ten has 6 in. They got Illinois, they got Iowa, they got Michigan and Michigan State, They got Purdue and Nebraska. Nobody else has more than 4.
Shout out to Nebraska, because I had them going out early, and I was dead wrong.
Nobody has more than 4, and as you say, the ACC only has 1. If you ask me, though, what game I want to see more than any other game, and the time doesn't work for me.
St. John's?
No.
What?
UConn, Michigan State.
Yeah.
That's the one that I want to see most of all.
Yes.
I do.
I agree. Given the history of the programs, the coaches, not ancient history, up-to-date state of play for those 2 programs, I agree. There's still some things we don't know. I mean, when you have freshmen that you rely upon like so many teams do, is there a point where they don't necessarily produce? Is there a point where you need the senior point guard Arizona to steady the team? Like, there's some things I think we find out in this next round, right?
Yes.
Should be fun. We've discussed the strongest teams remaining. Now let's discuss the highest seeds remaining. 11 seed Texas and 9 seed Iowa. The Longhorns beat North Carolina State in the first 4. A.J. DeBance's BYU and 3 seed Gonzaga to reach the 16. Iowa beat Clemson and stunned number 1 Florida, as we mentioned. Tony, are either of these power conference teams, Texas or Iowa, Cinderellas to you? And if not, how does the lack of a Cinderella change the nature of the tournament?
Give me a couple of seconds here. No. Neither Iowa
nor
Texas are Cinderella.
No.
Texas has been good for a long time.
Yeah.
You can go back to Kevin Durant. You can go further back than Kevin Durant.
Than that.
I got a stat today that they have made the tournament 31 times since 1989. And 2 of their most recent coaches, Rick Barnes and Sean Miller, they're really good.
Yeah.
Okay, they're really good. And they beat Gonzaga to get here. Now I'm going to go on my rant, and you know my rant because I left it on your voicemail. Gonzaga is the most overrated, over-adored team in college basketball. It doesn't mean that I don't think Mark Few is a good coach. He's a very good coach. Doesn't mean I don't think their players are good. They go to the NBA. I'm saying that conference that they're in does not prepare that team to win this tournament ever. They play what, like 2 hard games from January 1 on, and Santa Clara, and that's all. And now you're going to tell me that they're in the Pac-12 next year. Well, you wake me up when that Pac-12 has UCLA and Arizona, and don't call me before then. It's not going to have them. Iowa, not a Cinderella. They're big, they shoot, and they move the ball around. And they've been in this tournament 5 of the last 7 years. I got one Cinderella for you. And there's only one on the board, and that is Nebraska. Nebraska is to college basketball right now what Indiana was to college football, a perennial loser having a magical season.
You know, I agree. That's why I gave them a shout out already and apologized. I had Nebraska win on the first round. Just because, again, you don't know.
They had never won
That's right.
an NCAA tournament
and everything's
game.
a never. Never been to the Sweet 16.
Ever.
Good for them.
How could you be the Sweet 16 if you couldn't get to the 32?
Thinking of our dear friend Mike Gleason.
That's right.
Who would have loved to see his team be in basketball, because he's a basketball guy as well. There's no Cinderellas. I can't count Nebraska as a Cinderella.
I do.
I can't count them. And Iowa and Texas, certainly not. They're powers. They're big teams that play on New Year's Day in football games for the last 100 years. They are not Cinderellas.
Would you say that if only one of the ways to be a Cinderella is you've never sent a great pro to the NBA? Because you name me a great pro Nebraska's ever had in the NBA. Not the NFL, the NBA.
NBA, I can't.
Don't mention Ty Lue because he wasn't a great pro. No, the answer is there are none.
There are none. But let me just say this, and I don't know where this is going. I know also from our live conversation last night, you don't enjoy this tournament as much as we have enjoyed other tournaments. Neither do I. And we're on the same wavelength here. The drama is lacking, and the threat of David beating Goliath, which is the essential conflict and the attraction of the tournament as set up in the 1980s.
Yes.
Sorry, millennials and younger people.
Yes.
You don't even know why the tournament is great and why it's irresistible.
Yes.
That's why it's irresistible. Will people turn away in time if that central conflict is not met?
We're talking about a long time, and we don't know year to year what's going to happen.
No, we
but
don't.
I would tell you that the closest thing to Cinderella that we got is Nebraska. Nebraska.
Man.
We stay with college basketball. We move to coaches with perhaps uncertain futures. Hubert Davis of North Carolina, who is reportedly discussing his future with Carolina officials. Mark Pope of Kentucky, whose 19-point loss to Iowa State was Kentucky's largest tournament loss since 1972. And Bill Self of Kansas, who himself raised the possibility that he might not be back after the Jayhawks lost to St. John's. Mike, these are enormous programs.
Yeah.
Which coach's future intrigues you the most?
The one is Bill Self. It's personal, and I'm not going to get too far into it. I have communicated with Bill Self, and I will communicate further with him about heart disease and issues that relate, but specifically heart, having had them myself. And so I'm concerned about Bill Self in that way. At whatever, 62, 63 years old.
63.
You rev it up.
It's not old compared to us. It's not old, young.
We got a few years on him. But so yes, Bill Self, who I like tremendously, I care about in that way. That intrigues me.
Well, he's not going to be fired. It's not about wins and losses.
No, it's about what he
got
decides to do with his future.
That's right.
Okay?
It's different.
Hubert Davis, who I covered as a player at North Carolina and the Knicks, and who was at this network for years doing a great job.
Yeah.
I didn't love it when he went back to that job, to North Carolina. I just, following a coach, his program, it's his alma mater, and I don't think things are going to wind up good there.
Okay.
So that leaves Kentucky in a situation where all they do is churn through coaches. Even when they have a guy who wins a national championship, it's never good enough. I hate that about Kentucky, specifically that dynamic.
I'm sure that you will analogize Kentucky basketball to Nebraska football.
Yes, I would.
It's the same thing, that they expect to win all the games all the time.
Yep.
Okay. Let me get to Hubert Davis first. I think it'd be very hard for North Carolina to fire him. Wow. This is a terrible loss. They were up 19 against VCU. You have to close that game out.
Missing their best player.
Well, that's what I want to get to.
That's what I want to get to.
Hubert Davis is a Carolina grad.
Yes.
He played for Dean. Okay. He went to the final game in his first year ever 5 years ago. He has beaten Duke a bunch of times. He's 5-7 against Duke, but Duke has been a better program than North Carolina in the last few years. And he was missing his best player, Caleb Wilson. So to me, you have to give him another year. I think it's hard for Kentucky to fire Mark Pope. He's a grad.
Is it hard for Kentucky to fire anybody?
Well, he goes one better than Hubert Davis. He was the captain on a national championship team under Rick Pitino. Yeah. He made the Sweet 16 last year. He's 46-26 in 2 years.
If either is fired, there will be a line outside the door to hire either or both.
Is 2 years enough for Pope? I don't know.
Tony,
I don't know.
I don't look at it in that context. I look at it as how greedy is Kentucky. They're the greediest. If you line up all the blue bloods and say, who's the greediest on the totem pole when it comes to college basketball, men's college basketball, the answer is Kentucky.
Here's a get-out question.
What?
Do you think it helps Mark Pope that Rick Pitino and John Calipari are in the Sweet 16?
What do you think they're thinking in Lexington? You know.
But I will say this. They the MVP this season.
Right.
You believe that he will?
No, I have a vote in this, and I will tell you that it's tightened up. My vote, and I'm not even sure of the order, I think it's Jaylen Brown 1. I think it's SGA 2, and I think it's Victor 3. And then don't talk to me about a guy who plays half the court, Luka Doncic.
I know you hate him. It's okay. You hate him.
Luka Doncic is a wizard. He's a magician.
Well, don't put him on the Wizards because there's his
Why
career.
not? You think he's the greatest thing in the history of the world?
But his career will go straight south on the Wizards.
So anyway, those are my top 3. If Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs somehow catch OKC for first place in the West, I will cast a vote. It's a regular season award for Victor Wembanyama, who isn't just the face of the NBA. He's the face of worldwide basketball, which is a good thing for basketball. And Jaylen Brown, who you were early on. Now, Jaylen Brown may be he's leaning at the tape. You know what I mean?
I will say this.
So that's where I am.
If I had a vote, and I don't, if I had a vote today, I would vote for Jaylen.
But you know it could change in a week.
Yes, because Jaylen Brown has been so resolute and dependable in the absence of Jason Tatum.
Agreed, totally agree.
And Boston is in second place in the East, and San Antonio is in second place in the West. But what Wembanyama has been doing lately is kind of sort of amazing. Since February 1st, that team is 22-2. That's the best record in the NBA. Wembanyama is averaging more than 24 points, more than 11 rebounds, and more than 3.5 blocks. And the blocks are the critical thing.
They are.
Because you can see on the faces of other players, they're afraid to go into the middle.
They are.
Because the thing is going to get swatted.
He's dissuading another 4 or 5 shots a game.
So, I mean, the amazing thing to me is Wembanyama is saying publicly, I want to win this award. Nobody says that. No. They may think it, but nobody says it. He says it, and I find it charming, and I will tell you that I could be persuaded because I think the numbers are there. I'm still in the Jaylen Brown camp.
Right.
But the numbers...
It's fluid.
Yes.
And by the way, he talked openly about defense and what it means to him. And that's
he makes his own case.
What he did, he just, again, magical stretch Luka Doncic and the Lakers are on. But if you're playing half the game, I'm not voting for you above this kid. And you wouldn't either if you had a vote.
I said I wouldn't. I mean, you don't trade a straw dog here. I said I wouldn't. I also said you hate
Just emphasize it.
Okay. Right.
No, because I would trade for Luka. I wouldn't trade him away. I wouldn't do that. Flag football. I know you love it.
Do.
Are you surprised that the Team USA flag football specialists so easily handled National Football League players?
I was surprised, and I probably should not have been. The National Football League players play National Football League football.
Yeah.
They don't play flag football. Okay? The guys playing the flag football, that's all they do. I was told today they scored on every single possession. They beat 2 different teams, one 39-14 and one 43-16. These guys want to play in the Olympics. Tom Brady and Joe Burrow and Gronk, they don't want to play in the Olympics. That's not what they're there for. And flag football is not necessarily their game. To me, Mike, this is like expecting a great tennis player to be immediately great at pickleball. They might be, but in time. Not immediately, not right away. And so, no, I shouldn't have been surprised. I shouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah, Tony, I had to see it, and I didn't watch it. I ain't watching that. Like, I ain't watching TGL.
Oh, you got to.
I'm not watching any off-season nonsense.
Got to watch bed sheet golf.
Because we're in the real season now where 2 Northwestern men were at the top of the leaderboard.
That's right. I watched that.
I know you did. And so I'm into golf, not bed sheet.
Bed sheet golf, baby. It's a new thing.
And so I'm not into this, flag football. But
it's going to be an Olympic sport.
Say this. Who else in the world is playing it? Anybody? No.
well, if it's
'Cause
an
nobody
Olympic
else
sport,
in the world is
50
playing
countries.
real football. But here's what these guys are. They look like gymnasts.
They're great.
Allen Iverson right now could come back maybe and be the greatest flag football player because you can't touch him. You can't grab his flag. But Tony, if any one of those young, small guys was out there and say Dick Butkus of vintage,
Okay.
he would drive a helmet through his sternum and he'd go straight to the blue tent.
Again,
so
it's a
they're
different
different.
sport.
The subtleties, yes.
It's a different
They're
sport.
different.
So I make the automatic assumption,
Yes.
as everybody does, well, Tom Brady can't be Tom Brady, but the fact of the matter is...
By the way,
that
how hard are they playing?
I don't know.
The pros.
I don't know. I think the Olympic kids are playing as hard
They
as they
will
can.
be playing hard.
And the quarterback who once
tell
said
me.
he was better at that sport than Patrick Mahomes, because he is at that sport.
Don't
It's a
tell me you're going
different
to fall
sport.
for this. Don't tell me you're going to fall for it.
I am going to fall for it. Steve Young said he wanted to play in it, not female. Let's take one last break. Still to come, Tiger Woods, and as he gets older, is not whether he will ditch those quarter zips and make a new fashion statement,
zips are nice.
but will he get to the finish line first, ahead of Shaq and Charles Barkley, for who does the most commercials. Manning has been selling insurance and beer and credit cards and cell phone plans and sport drinks, and maybe by tonight, AARP.
That would be funny. They're all good. He's funny in all of them. He's engaging in all of them. So is Shaq. And so is Charles. I didn't Wayfair.
What is he doing? What's he doing Wayfair?
And ask him about Wayfair.
He needs a new couch? Really?
Can you get a better trio than those three doing commercials?
No, they're wonderful. Happy anniversary, NC State. Around this day 52 years ago, playing in the friendly confines of Greensboro, North Carolina, the Wolfpack ended UCLA's streak of 7 national championships with an 80-77 double overtime victory over Bill Walton's Bruins in the national semifinals.
Such a great game.
NC State went on to beat Marquette for the national title. NC State was led by the great David Thompson, whose collegiate record to that point was, 57-1. Thompson was helped by 7'3" center Tom Burleson, guards Mo Rivers and 5'6" Monty Tao, and forward Tim Stoddard, who went on to a career as a major league pitcher. I was at this game. It might be the best game I ever saw, and I saw the Leitner game.
People have no idea who David Thompson is or how great he was. They have no idea. They have a little bit of idea about Bill because Bill stayed with us, thankfully, thank God, for a lot longer. David Thompson. Google him. Huh? Right? Boys and girls.
Jumped out of the gym. Greatest.